Peace and love, peace and love, peace and love, family grand risings. And today we are about to do something great. Welcome to the Serenaders Lounge in the Artist Spotlight with your host, the poet, Brotha GKL. And today we are interviewing a published author of a new book titled The Book of Strange Facts and Calculations by Bill James, philanthropist, short story writer, also a man recognized for countless accolades and awards. Coming from humble beginnings in Oklahoma to the known mathematical genius in the great state of Texas, we look forward to hearing the thoughts and opinions from everyone once you all have fully embraced the phenomenal author, Mr. Will James. Let's soon get Mr. Will James in here right now. Just a brief moment. It's just gonna take a second, y'all. See, greatness takes time. You know, greatness takes. What's going on, sister? How are you on today? What's going on? We about to do this. How you doing today? Good afternoon, and how are you today, Mr. James?
Good fine, sir.
All right, I'm loving the shirt. You're looking comfortable over there. How you feeling?
Well, a lot better. Get on.
So I already gave the invitation and brought everybody in, and I also gave a presentation on everything that was about yourself. You will see it in a recap once we post everything. So, I mean, would you like to jump straight into the questions so we can get to know the great Will James today? All right, I see your speech is a little bit, so we're gonna go ahead and go into it. So the first question that I really want to ask you is, tell me a bit about where you grew up.
I grew up in Texas, just east of Dallas, down on a cotton farm.
Okay. So how long were you down there? Like, how many did you like growing up there in Texas, or you just moved there?
Well, we moved there. My dad was from Texas, and my mother was from Oklahoma.
All right, okay. It sounds like some beautiful people. You got some wonderful parents that I see. You got, I see a little smile on your face a little bit. You all right? All right, there we go. There we go. I just want to see if we can crack a smile or something.
Oh, yeah.
So one thing I want to do, the next question, I don't want to, seem like I'm rushing into it, but I really want to get to know this book. The other question I want to ask you is, what motivated you to write the book of strange facts and calculations?
Well, what it was, I started, when the book started, later on, things got to getting so strange that I finally decided, this stuff needs to be told. It's more than I could even believe. And when I met Patricia, she stayed after me to publish that book. I said, well, I don't know. It's a pretty strange book, but there was a lot of things in it that I was always told, it can't be done. It's impossible. Nobody knows this stuff. And I said, well, I lived it, and I've done it. And so I thought, well, I'm just going to put it out there for a lot of mostly non-believers. I said, yeah, it's real. Well, I can
Okay. Now, let me ask you this. Could you go into mind telling a little bit deeper detail about the book? Not to give up everything, but just a little bit more about the book to tell people what they're getting themselves into.
Well, that's the thing I was going to say. I think the things that happened to me in there, I can't say it'll happen to everybody, but I imagine there's a lot of people out there, if they pay attention to their lives and things around them, they'll find having events in their life just like I did.
Wow.
That's why they wanted to actually just show people, all this stuff is real. The problem I have, I can't explain it, why I did it, or how I did it, but I know it happened, and that's why I wrote about it. I wrote it to exactly try to as much as I can, just like it happened.
Okay.
To help them believe what they're reading.
Because I know in your bio, you are a mathematical genius, which I can see it on your face. You're calculating numbers right now. What is it about math that intrigues you the most? Like, what is it about it that, that really catches your interest?
Well, it was I was going to school down here to get a water license, and I had to do a lot of math. I wasn't that good at math when I went to school. I got a mind something like Albert Einstein. He was poorly in school, and I was too.
Wow.
I wrote beyond belief.
So, I mean, Albert Einstein had a little dyslexia. I mean, do you also have that as well?
Well, I don't know what I got.
Well, I see you got a good material here, so I'm pretty sure we're gonna learn a lot from your book and see what's going on in Will James' head.
Oh yeah.
So, one thing I wanted to, what do you wish to accomplish with your book, honestly?
Well, it's really to, like I said, I wanted to put the stuff out there and let people read it and draw their own conclusion. But it was real. Yes, it happens to me, just like I wrote it. And that was more,
Okay.
just letting people know about it.
Okay.
I was told all my life a lot of the stuff I did, it couldn't be done. Well, I don't know how I did it, but it sure got done. And I wrote it.
But I see you relax, and that's a good thing. You calm. You seem like you got a strong head on your shoulder, which I can see myself. But I do want to know, were there any difficulties at the moment of writing your masterpiece? Like, did you have any difficult problems while writing?
No, not really.
Okay. Because a lot of people have problems, usually when they're writing, they can't stay focused. They get distracted quite easily, or they can't find a topic. So I see that you basically, where you were going with what you were doing.
More or less, yes. The problem I run
Okay.
into, I won't get too far ahead of your game, but
No, I mean, you got to let them know. I mean, because, the title speaks for itself. Go ahead, speak about it.
I'm going to tell you something others about this writing. I don't read books. I read 3 books in my life, and one of them was Huckleberry Finn. The next one was the Bible, and the third
Okay.
book I wrote, the one we're talking about. And all the books
Uh,
I ever read. And yet I sat down and wrote a book.
okay.
That's how strange it can get. But another thing we talk about here after a while, you asked me about is there anything else about that coming your way. It is that now I done lost my train of thought.
No, take your time. That's what the training of thought is. Let's train it right on back. Let's just track it back. Take your time.
Yeah, the problem with the book we'll talk about it there in a little bit. I get tied up with the characters in it. And
Right.
the funny part about that is, there's tragedy in it. I sat there crying right along with the characters in the book.
But you're one with your book. You're really inside your book, so that's a good thing.
Me. I got too carried away in these books. I really get into the characters in it.
So I gotta ask, everybody got a way that how they write. Is there anything particular you like in your space while you're writing to help you stay focused?
No, not really. I just get into whatever I'm writing about.
So you just dive right into it. You don't waste no time. You just do what you got to do, huh?
That was another thing that goes with the other book we'll talk about a little later here.
Okay.
I just threw away all the rules and write the book.
That's a good thing. That's a real good thing.
I just wrote it because I did it for the fun of it. And it's a funny book, it's a sad book, and it's all kinds of books. I mean, it's really a neat book. It's not like any of the other ones. You probably read, like I said, ain't no rules in it.
Yeah. Cause see, I love the title. The title's different. I mean, that's the one thing that caught my eye while, getting this prepared and everything like that. So I do gotta ask you, how do your family feel about your passion to be an author?
Well, I don't really have a family except Patricia.
Well, if you don't, you got one now, Mr. James. You got one. You got Sister Demps over there. You got me now. Look at you. Look at that's my big sister. That's awesome. Well, you got the writers family. As far as who we talking to now, we got a lot of writers in here now that's actually looking at you and supporting you and appreciate what you're doing, because we all trying to do something positive. And we want you to continue doing it, because there's no age on writing, Mr. James. I mean, we just got to continue to keep going and moving forward. Am I right?
That's right. Yeah.
All right. So I do want to ask you, what has helped or hindered you the most while writing? Like, a lot of people have things that hinder them from being able to do something. What kind of hindered you or helped you while you were writing?
Well, not much of any of it, really. It's just that, getting back to the other book we'll talk about later, when I started writing it took a toll on my health somewhat, because I would
Okay.
in the morning, about 4 o'clock, and I go in there and sit down on the computer and start writing. I sit there and write till time to go to bed again about 8, 9 o'clock at night.
Wow.
Too much too quick.
Now, I have to ask you a question that's kind of past tense and present. If you could turn back the time and talk to your 18-year-old self, what would you tell him? The younger Will James, before you became the author of today.
What will I tell him? Well, all I can say is, son, I didn't start out to be a writer. It just ended up that way.
But I gotta ask you though, that's a good thing. But what other skills do you have to add on to that to show that younger you the appreciation of who you became today?
Well, I think that I'll tell him, he's better off to become a writer at a young age and not go through all the hard work I did.
Wow.
I used to work construction, and I started in construction in Hawaii and worked my way all the way back here to Texas.
Oh, that's awesome.
Used to doing construction.
So can you tell me a little bit about Hawaii? Just down there in Hawaii, I mean, just part of that.
Yeah, I went down there during the Vietnam War. I was going to go fight, and I was in the National Guard, and I went to Dallas and took the physical to get in the Army, and I failed the physical, and the National Guard had to write a release for me to go to the Army, and then I walked out on the street and said, well, I'm out of both of them. So,
wow. Well, I still appreciate the attempt of your services. I do. I appreciate that. I do.
Yeah. So I went back and got my job back, made plane fire, and I had a cousin that had met a boy there in Dallas, got drafted and stationed there. So I went down there to see her, and I got in construction down there. And then the thing was that after I got in construction, making more money than I ever seen in my life, when we were back on the farm down there, you're talking about $5 a day, 12, 14 hours a day work.
Right.
And then construction down there, I started out at $6 a quarter hour, and I ain't ever seen that much money in my life.
Oh, wow. That seems like a good place to really, focus on something that you love to do, painting, writing, and things of sort. Seems like a good place.
Yeah, it was wonderful down there. And the problem was that when gasoline was 25, 30 cents a gallon here, or 50 cents a gallon down there, and it was kind of expensive. But when I went to Hawaii, I caught a bus in Dallas. It cost me $50 and a dime, and I rode to Los Angeles on it.
Wow. Magnificent.
I in this to Hawaii cost me $20 and 10 cents, I think it was. No, $40.10. That's all.
Wow.
I go to Hawaii for that kind of money.
So basically, you brought back, and now you're in the great home of Texas.
Yeah, I started here, left here, and went away all the way out there, and come back here, and ended up here.
So they're treating you well in Texas, I'm aware.
Oh yeah.
So just for the sake of saying, because I know it's on your heart, I know you brought it up a couple times. I mean, what about this the second book? Because I want to talk about it. I see it in your face that you want to talk about it. You go ahead and speak on it.
The second book is called Starlight. It's a fiction story, and I started that book. Let's see, it's probably been about 10 years or so ago. And I started writing on it, and I got about 5 pages on it.
Okay.
The thing that happened, there was a tragedy in it. There was a fire. The main character in there was a little girl, and she was going to college, and they had a fire there. About the time I was writing that page about the fire, there was a fire out in California out there at a college.
Okay.
It was burning up out there at the college. And so I stopped writing on it. Well, I couldn't figure out what am I writing here. Is this going to be a science fiction story, or am I writing the future?
Right.
So I stopped writing on it and put it away. And then I asked your granddaughter here about a couple of months ago about if she wanted to help me write some books, and she said, yeah. So that was one of them that we started with. So without her help, that book would have never got wrote. And we have it finished now. Patricia, she's got to get some finals done on it and the cover design for it. And it's going to be behind this strange fact book. So that'll answer one of your questions. Is there something else coming for you?
So what do you see after the first book and the second book? Will you continue to keep writing after, or was this just the 2 books that was just you had in the works?
Well, it depends on how good the books sell. You know, is it worth the money? I've invested a lot of money in these 2 books, and you can do that. You know, it's the printing and all the things that go with it.
Trust and believe with your willpower and a sister that's behind the camera, Dr. Patricia Demps, everything is going to be successful.
Well, we hope so. The other thing that the second book, what we're hoping for, I am in it too, is that somebody will get it and make a movie out of it. Because it is movie quality book, I think.
That'll be magnificent. Like I said, the titles alone speak for itself, let alone the artwork coming with it.
Yeah. That, well, she went to get something there.
So I gotta ask you, is there anything about yourself that you really need your readers or future readers to understand about you? Something about Will James that people don't know?
Oh, there's probably a lot of things.
Well, you can name the things that have to do to relate to what you're doing today. You're writing today. Is there some extra talent that you have that someone would basically be able to appreciate, more or less?
Well, a lot of it is the one thing I think I learned from the writing on it is that my psychic ability I have. You're going to read a lot about that in this strange fact book.
So you have an insight for basically predictions, premonitions, and things of sort like that.
Well, yeah, that's what you're going to read a lot about in that book, in the strange fact book. That's really what a lot of it's about. And that's why a lot of things happen there. It's a little hard to explain, but that's why I was saying about that. I wanted to put it out there where people can read it. And it is real, and it happened. And I can't explain why it happened.
So you can say this book is basically half fiction based on true story.
What now? I didn't understand.
Because it sounds like you're saying that there's a lot of truth to what's inside the book, and it's also some that is fiction. Which book is actually speaking on the truth? Like, is it something like it's based on a true story? Like, you got things that are based on a true story, you got things that are fiction. Which one do you feel is based on a true story as far as the books that you're writing?
Facts and calculation book is based on true stories.
Okay.
Then
So people really love the true stories, like based on true story along with fiction, but they're based on a true story. That's really powerful.
yeah, but the science fiction book is science fiction. Well, to a point. Let me back up a little bit on that.
Okay.
The characters in that is based on my life when I first started school. It talks about this little boy that he started school. Well, actually, part of the funny part of it, he started school the first day, and the teacher asked him why he was so much larger than everybody else. He's a foot taller. Well, that actually happened to me, and that's how that got in there. When I started first grade, I had to wait a year because I didn't turn 6 years old till after school started, and you couldn't go to years 6 years old. So the next year when I started, I was already going to turn 7 years old, and I was a foot taller. And the teacher asked me, "You're kind of big to be in first grade, ain't you?" Well, but in the book, what happened to the little boy in the book was he was always being funny. So he told the teachers that I spent 2 years in kindergarten. So she
Okay.
thought to herself, well, how can you fail kindergarten? That's just a taxpayer babysits all that is.
Cause how tall are you, Mr. James? What you look 6'5", 6'4"?
6'2", probably 6'3" now.
Wow, wow.
Are you trying to say you grew in your old age?
So do you have anybody special, anybody extra special in your life that's supporting you along on this journey of yours of doing this book, these two books?
Miss Patricia right there.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. To have somebody special in your life that's gonna be right by your side.
Yeah, she's here. She's here.
But no, I can't. Go ahead, Mr. James. I couldn't hear you. Go ahead, say what you said.
You got now?
Repeat what you
No, I couldn't hear you. Say what you were saying.
You were saying Jesse too.
Well, I was saying about Jesse too, her son. I said, yeah, I love him too. And he started calling me his grandfather a long time ago, and I said, yeah. I never had any. That's another thing about me. I never had any children. I was married 2 times and never had any children. It's kind of strange. That's why I like her so much. She's a family I've never had.
But it seems like you're at peace with her. As long as you're happy with what's going on in your life, that's the only thing that matters.
That's right. You got it right.
So I can tell you something. So basically, you outgrew your family. Like the question you said earlier, you really don't have any family. You just basically outgrew your family, or that's just straight on that you don't really have any family.
Well, I have 2 brothers and 1 sister, and the other one of my brothers is older than me, and the other one is younger than me, and my sister's about 2 years younger than me. But I have a brother that died. He went to Vietnam. He got in that Agent Orange stuff, and it finally
Okay.
hit him. And I had a sister I loved dearly, and she was killed in a truck wreck.
Sorry to hear that. I'm sorry, very sorry to hear that.
In the truck, and the lady had a blowout right in front of her.
Tell them they read about that.
Yeah.
They read about that in Strange Facts.
Yeah, it's in the Strange Facts book. Yeah, you read about that.
You heard him, everybody. Mr. James said the book of strange facts and calculations. You will see things that's very in depth inside his personal life and things that has went on truly. It's based on true story, as we might say.
Yes.
Did you want to read that?
I have a little review on that book, if you'd like me to read it right quick.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Hey, I'm here. We're here. We're here to listen to you, Mr. James. Go ahead. Speak your mind.
Yeah, the 3 short reviews, and they'll probably cover the whole audience. The first one, it says, the first review, the reader stated, "You sure put a lot of detail in your stories." My reply
Wow.
was, yes, because they are based on true stories and events that took place in my life. Then the second review said, the reader stated, "Your book is a book of short stories. I love books like that." My reply,
Wow.
"Thank you. I never intended to write it the other way. It just ended up the other way."
That's magnificent.
Now this one really gets you. The third review, the reader stated, "Your book really is interesting and a little spooky."
They don't understand a true masterpiece, but that actually was a compliment within itself. But I could tell they enjoyed it. Which one of those reviews really touched you the most, honestly?
It'd be that first one.
Wow. And why, if you don't mind giving a little bit about that?
About the details. And that's one thing reason I wrote it like I did, you had to put the details in there and be specific with some of the things to make it real. And that's what it was, real. And so that's
Understood.
like that. And that's what I liked about that review. That she's kind of told me that, like a professional. And I don't know if she does a lot of reading here, if she was, but I just had to another read it unless it was before they got back from me.
So are you ready for the new reviews come? I mean, when this book is fully like, the way that you want it to be on Amazon and other different platforms like that, are you ready for the new reviews coming your way?
Well, I don't know. I hope so. I just hope everybody that gets a copy of it enjoys it. There's one thing in there that I'm going to say here in the introduction of it. I wrote down there I hope it doesn't hurt some of the readers, because I talk about some difficult things in there. And I didn't write
Yeah.
it to hurt anybody. Just try to remember when you read it. It was all, well, that's what I said. It's true stories, and it wrote just like it happened.
You spoke from your heart, and people would have to respect that always. This is your path. This is your journey. This is about you. It's all about what you feel about your book, and I believe they will really appreciate it.
Yeah, I hope they do, and I hope they enjoy reading it.
So I have another question for you. I want to know, where can people find out more about the author Will James? Anything else about what you're doing as far as your book?
Your Facebook page and Twitter.
On Facebook and Twitter, yeah. Yes.
Also Will James.
Yeah, Author Will James. Yeah, she's Patricia has me all lined up on Facebook.
As you can see it, my sister, Dr. Patricia Demps, is assisting the author Will James on certain things, because that's what we do. We help each other. So if you see Mr. Will James, he's on Facebook as Arthur Will James, and also on Twitter, and soon to be on other platforms if he likes. But it's an endless road, y'all. And now we gotta, like I said, we gotta support each other no matter what.
Well, she's sure doing that.
So how do you feel? You know what I'm saying? Anything you want to say before we start to, do you feel like we pretty much summed up everything that need to be said as of today? Because I know you probably want to do something. Anything else you feel like you need to get off your heart?
No, I don't know. There's a lot of things I could talk about, but I don't think that we really should talk about a lot of things.
Well, I would say that's another book, Mr. James. I say that's another book. You got 2, 3 is on the way.
Oh yeah, that was one of the questions I had there, and that's what I was telling her.
So before we, sign out, I want to say I actually appreciate you for allowing me to do this. and basically gracing us with your positive presence along with my wonderful big sister. I appreciate her connecting us so we can do this, and hopefully we get to do this again when you get your next book or another project. I will be here, most definitely.
Well, I appreciate your time and appreciate the interview, and I'm glad to do it. I just hope it was something to be useful to you.
Oh, trust me, I will have my book, and I hope to get the autograph. You know, I got to have the autograph, Mr. Will James. I got to do it.
Everybody I told about the book, yeah, I want a copy. Yeah, you be sure to sign it. Oh, yeah.
It's got to be authentic. I want the authentic version. Hey, Will James, he did it for me. Mr. Will James, he signed it. He showed me some love, and that's it.
Well, maybe someday, I have the original hard copy of this book.
Okay.
I might put that up for sale someday.
Whoa, yo, you selling the classic right there. You all right?
Yeah, that book is got a lot of pictures and things in it for each story. There's a lot more book there than what we're publishing, but with the publishing I had, the pictures and all that, getting into a copyright issue,
Okay.
would go with the story, and I had so many pictures that I couldn't run everybody down to some kind of agreement on using them, and so I had to take them all out. But that's what I said. The original hard copy of that is something else to see.
Oh, well, give it time. Give it time, Mr. James. Don't give it up yet. Just wait. We got just hold on to it for a minute.
I will.
So we're gonna sign out. I want to, thank everybody coming to the Serenaders Lounge and Artist Spotlight to meet up with the great published author of the book titled "The Book of Strange Facts and Calculations" by the author Will James.
Thank you, sir.
All right. We'll see you soon again, Mr. James, and I appreciate you. You and my sister, y'all have a wonderful day, and we shall do this again.
We sure appreciated it. Thank you.
Thank you.